Hey guys, what is up? Ashley Mayfield and Mira Denning. We are so excited. Here's the deal, you guys. We wanted to come to you. We tried to come live, didn't work out, but we want to come to you with this recorded video, and we literally hope it explodes your 2020. Both of us today were asked how we're going into 2020. What's the difference between a vision board and a dream board and a goal board, and how do you implement it? And maybe you're struggling just like we have in the past, but we both realized that we have these phenomenal leadership strengths, and we're both kind of tackling 2020 the same way. So we wanted to come to you guys and do two different things. First, talk to you about the difference between a vision and a goal board, because Mira, we both know those are two different things, right? And
That's right.
then we want to talk to you about tactical implications on how you can tackle 2020, not only just with you, but also with your team and your downline. That way you're connecting the dots from here to there. So Mira, I know that you have been doing this for like eons, right? You've been helping like a $2 billion company being able to strategize going into the future and creating all this. Can you kind of explain the difference between having a vision board and a goal board? Because I'm gonna be honest with you, I didn't have an epiphany until last night, and I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah, absolutely. So when you're doing kind of a planning exercise and kind of looking at your strategies, a lot of times these words kind of get mixed together, but they are different things. So the biggest thing that you want to start with is your vision. Okay. Now, vision is kind of thinking about where do you want to be in, say, 3 to 5 years. Some of the questions you might ask yourself are like, what's your perfect day? If you could think of what you want for your family most of all, what does your life look like? And sort of asking those big picture questions so you know what is this big thing that you're trying to build towards. And honestly, that's what's going to pull your heartstrings to get moving anyway. So you really want to know what that is. So when you're doing a dream board or a vision board, that should be the kind of the big thing that you want in your heart. And so it's not necessarily like a rank. It's not necessarily even an income level. It's what do you want your life to be? What are the material things involved with that a rank or a money could buy? And so that's vision.
What I love that you said about
Go ahead.
What I love that you just said about that is oftentimes, and that's the difference between the goal board. The goal could be more of the income, the rank, because when we're fighting, and I actually just read this, I think, in Atomic Habits, which if you guys have not gotten that book, you need to get that book. It's going to help you a lot in 2020. But what they talked about is oftentimes when you're doing some kind of vision board, just like you said, Mira, you can't have a status or an income because that can be attained like that. That's not fulfillment. That is temporary satisfaction. That is significance, but that's not fulfillment. So we've got to talk about what's that. And that's kind of tough for me, creating that vision board, right? As much as I'm a red, as much as I'm bird's eye view, I don't know what I don't know. And I haven't been around money. I haven't been exposed to people who are doing things and going places and stuff. So I'm going to talk about how I got my aha last night in just a second. But so now that we know this vision board, which a lot of people like, what's your purpose? What's going to bring you fulfillment? For me, it was if I can go anywhere, be anything, do anything. Money wasn't an issue. Time wasn't an issue. If I could give anything, what would that look like? What's that big, hairy, audacious goal that's obnoxious? And guys, it doesn't matter if it's 100% selfless or 100% selfish. Like, what's the vision in your life? And like you said, Mira, it might not happen in 2020. It might not happen. It's going to take time, because if you can accomplish it, that's not a vision, that's a goal, right? And so now that we know what vision is like raw, big things. What would be like an appropriate goal board or goal thing for 2020? Because people do want, by the end of December 2020, I want to accomplish X, Y, Z. So what does that look like?
Yeah, so goals are like the incremental different movements and steps and things that you hit to reach your vision. So, and they don't have to be just the annual goal. They could be monthly, they can be weekly, they can be daily. And a lot of us, you look at a 6 list, that's basically a set of daily goals. So, for your 2020 goals, if you're looking at an annual goal, there you might, like you said, bring in a rank, because with that rank comes income. Or I often encourage people think the income, not the rank, because that the averages can go all over the place. But that's going to be the incremental step. And so if you think about an annual goal, that's where you might be like, well, I really need to be double diamond, or I need $6,000 a month at the end of this year to incrementally get this vision. You know, on your team, obviously you've been so loud about paying off debt. So let's say that one of your visions is to be debt free, and that might be like a 4-year journey for you, or a 2-year journey. You still on your goal board might say, you know, I want to pay off 50% of my debt by the end of this year, or you might say $5,000 paid down on debt. So giving something that is specific, measurable, and time bound, that's what we want for goals. And then you're going to have, you know, as you're working with your upline, your coach, you're going to hopefully have monthly, weekly, and daily goals as well to kind of get along there. But right now, where we're talking about 2020 preparation, that's where the annual things could come. And I will say, Ashley, that a lot of times people put both vision things and goals on their boards. So you're going to see ranks, but then you're also going to see that big, hairy, audacious goal vision. And that's okay, but just know what you're doing. You know, like,
know what you're doing.
Just know that you're merging two things that are not the same. Because the question that we were getting is, well, some of the things on the vision board may not be accomplished in 2020. And we're both like, that's fine, you know, in our two different conversations. But then you might put things on there that you really want by 2020, and just be specific.
And so for me, guys, I'm actually going to separate my boards. And this was a massive aha. If you have not watched the recap of the Costa Rica trip, I know unfortunately me and Mira both couldn't participate, but there's so much value that is in that. I watched it twice yesterday. Mira, I know you watched it. You were, you know, a hot mess. I was a hot mess. I was bawling and squalling last night. And you guys, I realized how small, after watching that Costa Rica recap, which we were both there, but I realized I just made my vision board for 2020. And that's actually why I couldn't be on it, because we were having the Zoom party for it. And you guys, I realized that this isn't a vision board. This is a goal board. If I worked hard, every single thing I wrote down I could accomplish. And I once heard from a mentor, if you could cross off everything on your vision board, you're a loser. Okay. And I know that's kind of harsh. And I know that was from a very red person, but like, guys, the goal is, the idea is the wolf climbing the mountain is always hungrier than the wolf at the top. Okay. Or the wolf at the top of the mountain is never as hungry as the wolf climbing the mountain. You've never reached your finish line. You've never reached your goal, right? That your vision is always evolving and your goals are always evolving. So what I realized is that everything that I wrote down, Mira, is a goal. It's something I know I can achieve. I'm not going to let myself down. With hard work, with perseverance, with grit, I can scratch off everything at the end of 2020 if I really wanted it. Now, I'm not saying that it's easily within reach. I'm going to have to work for it, but I can do it. But I had limitations when I wrote this down. That's the difference, you guys. And you got to get that. Whether you make one board, like Mira said, Mira's a lot more intelligent than I am. So I've got to make sure my intelligence looks a little different. Y'all, can I get an amen? So I got to separate those boards, but that's how cohesively it makes sense to me. Okay, these are the things I want to accomplish. That's what this is. This is a goal board for 2020 that I wrote. But you want to know what? I'm making a second board over the next 48 hours. And what I'm going to do is exactly what I just said. I said this to Jason last night. Jason, I need to make a vision board in my life where there's no limit. Like Mira said, it could take 3 years. It could take 5 years. But if I could have anything, be anything, go anywhere, do anything, give anything, what would my life look like? Do I want to talk in front of a crowd of 30,000 people? Do I want to go to Australia and pet the kangaroos? Do I want to have a white Porsche? These might not be things that I can attain in 2020. Now, can I? Yes, but it's going to take some time. I'm not at that level yet. There's, like Mira said, incremental steps to this thing. There's levels to the game, y'all, okay? And so for me, making a different vision board where I'm inspired and I'm dreaming big and it wakes me up in the morning and it sets my soul on fire. Like, what are those dreams? If you want to, start an orphanage in Africa, you might not be able to accomplish that in 2020 based on where you're at, but that's a 5-year plan. That's a 3-year, that's a vision. That is purpose and fulfillment. And so what does that look like? Now for you, you got to know your personality type. You can, again, mend them together, mesh them together, or you could separate them. But I want to challenge you, make sure you do both. It is so important. You can't just have attainable things. You got to have that long-term vision in sight, because as you're attaining your goals, those are kind of the mile markers for the long-term vision. Now, I know, Mira, one thing that we both kind of got lit up on fire when these questions got asked to us is really on a tactical level. how do you conquer it? Because even a goal board seems so far away, a vision board seems so far away. And it's easy to just say, oh, you know, that'll happen one day, or, well, no, it's not, because what we do today, December 12th, affects January 12th, affects July 12th, affects December 12th of 2020. Everything, right? There's a rise and a fall, or a life and a death to everything. There's a consequence, there's decisions, there's intent. So on a daily basis in 2020, how do we get intentional? And I know you've created this phenomenal business plan. I'm going to break down what I'm doing, and hopefully I know we are reaching the same goals, Mira, but we're coming at it from two different perspectives, because as much as we're both red, you veer green and I veer blue. And so I love that we're both, and that's how we all are. We all are the same. We all want the same thing at the end of the day, but our approach might be different. So I think this is going to be really interesting, you guys, to see the two different perspectives. So Mira, I know you've done this in the past. You've been launching this with your team. It's like about to be this massive game changer for you. Walk people through what your business action plan looks like for 2020.
Absolutely. So basically what I did, you guys, is I realized that I've been coaching now for 4.5 years in this business, but I haven't, and we have vision boards and we have 6 lists, we have all that, but I haven't really taken everything together so that I can help develop people, and they in turn have a tool to keep themselves accountable in their own development. And I'm not talking about enrollment, although that's a piece of it, but like, how are you growing as a leader? How are you growing in your personal development? You know, are you hitting your goals or not? Are you assessing where you are versus where you want to be, so that you can make tactical shifts if you need to, right? So I just realized we didn't have anything, like any mechanism to do all of those things. And so I built a document. It's, you know, it's not magic, but it asks very key questions. And we're rolling it out with about 10 of my leaders, right? My top leaders on my team. And so it's basically, I mean, I called it a business plan document. It's only 1 page long, so it's not hard. And what we did is they put in their 2020 vision and their word of the year. And then there's 3 other sections: leadership development, personal development, and income producing activities. Okay. And then there's multiple questions under each of those. And I'm happy to share that document, you know, on the Lifers page or whatever. But just a quick synopsis. So for leadership development, there's kind of 6 or 7 categories of strengths and weaknesses in leadership that we talk about that connect to things that we've been working on as leadership team. They need to identify their strengths and their weaknesses and what they're going to do with each. Okay. With personal development, it's what are your top 3 goals for personal development in 2020? What are things you commit to doing every single day in order to implement that? So we break that down. And then the 3rd category is income producing activities. So for your vision, what rank do you need to be this year? And in order to accomplish that rank, how many hours do you need to commit a day? What are your enrollment goals per month? And so kind of breaking that down. And then we also do our 6 lists, and we share them in coaching. So there's also a kind of open-ended section. But the bottom line of it, Ash, is that it gives them and me as their coach, again, these are top leaders on my team that we're trying to just raise up to the highest level possible, that structure to really look and assess everything that they need to do across these different spheres to be successful and really grow, not just their business, but their person and their leadership in 2020. And so far it's been flip and fire, because it's just, everybody's been really vulnerable and very honest. And that, you know, has just created so many openings for us to have real growth already starting this month.
I love that. And, you know, one thing that I love saying, and I know it is even the premise of what we do, right, is to build better humans. And so that's the goal, you know, is that we want to become better humans. We want to help build better humans. We want to leave people better than how we found them. And so when we're intentional about focusing and pouring into people, and not just in a business aspect. Yes, that might be what's connected all of us, but we genuinely want to see each other win. And if we only focus on that business measure, you know, I mean, we're going to have very lopsided people. We don't want to go all in with our business, but let our marriage fail. We don't want to go all in with our business, but not see our kids. We don't want to go all in with our business, but not be healthy, right? And so there's all these different things. And I love that for you, Mira, being that green personality, yours is like very much like a list, where I work a little bit more with like the chart aspect of things. And so for me, what I'm going to do is going into 2020 to make sure that a lot of us, what we want to have is we want to be intentional. We want to be held accountable. We want to make sure that we see that growth, like you said, that measurable growth, okay? Because there's so many different variables to what we're doing. So I'm really going to break down 2020, and I'm actually doing this right now, but breaking down 2020 into daily goals, weekly goals, monthly goals, and quarterly goals. So for instance, some of the things that I want to do is really make sure, here's some bullet points that maybe can help you guys brainstorm. What do you want your health to look like? Do you want to start working out? Do you want to eat healthy? What are your financial goals? What books do you want to read? Do you want date nights? Do you need to write handwritten cards? For me, how many Facebook Lives do I want to do? What kind of YouTube videos do I want? For you, maybe what kind of pop-ups or what kind of parties do you want to do, right? And I think we have all these ideas, but I know, Mira, we both have been in leadership and we're passionate about leadership long enough to know that the disconnect is taking the idea from here to actually the tangible proof of it getting it done and accomplished, right? And so for me, I'm almost creating breaking it down in quarters. I'm starting with quarter one. So I have January, February, and March, breaking it down week 1, 2, 3, 4, week 1, 2, 3, 4. What are things I want to do on a daily basis? So for example, every single day, and this is just kind of what I want to do. I want to read 10 to 15 pages a day in a book. I want to drink just celery, and which I'm very proud of. I'm on day 12. Okay. Very proud of myself. And I want to floss my teeth. These are 3 things that might seem really silly, but how many of you guys know, and just it goes back to the atomic habits, it's those small things. How you do one thing is how you do everything. It's that small thing on a daily basis that when I'm doing these, I'm on day 12 right now of drinking just celery, and I honestly feel amazing. I did it consistently in Costa Rica. I'm so proud of myself. Why? Because you are proud of yourself when you do hard work, okay? Work produces confidence. We got to stop thinking the confidence comes before the work. We're not entitled to confidence, right? And so when you do the hard work, you're going to get the confidence. So how can I keep myself held accountable on a daily basis? Obviously, I've got more things I'm going to do on a daily basis. Y'all calm down. They're like, that's all you got to do. That's not all I'm going to do. But these are things like, I want to be intentional with these 3 things about me. So now in my business, what does that look like? What does my Mira does a 6 list? I do a 5 list. I like things in odd numbers. I either win or I fail. That's just how I roll. So what does my 5 list look like every day? How am I going to stay accountable on a daily basis? Weekly. One of the things I really want to do is implement date night. So I can talk about wanting date night, which is really funny, you guys. I put that on my dream board last year. Monthly date nights didn't happen because I wasn't intentional with it. So now I can establish what day of the week. I'm looking at quarter 1, January, February, March, what day of the week consistently. So I will never plan any Zooms. It's never going to be flip-flopped each week. Every Monday or every Thursday is date night. Now, what does that look like? Does it look like just me and Jason? Does it look like our family? Maybe it can be in every other week, it's me and Jason. Every other week, it's the family. That way, I only have to get a babysitter twice a month. But now I'm intentional. And now I'm going to be able to look at January, February, and March at the end of this month and contact my babysitter and say, hey, are you open on these days? Now I'm making things in motion. And because they're in motion, they're more likely to happen. I hope you guys are picking up on this. But there's so many other things like, how do I want to, so that was, I had daily, I had weekly, monthly. On a monthly basis, I want to make sure I'm reading at least 2 books. Now, I love podcasts. I listen to podcasts all day long. I have no issue with personal development. That is a very strong pillar in my life. But I want to be intentional. There's something about reading a physical book because on podcasts and Audible, we're not focused. Okay, we're not zoned in like you are reading a book. You can't be distracted while reading a book, otherwise you're not going to get it. What 2 books am I going to read in January? What 2 books am I going to read in February? What 2 books am I going to read in March? It's already outlined for me. In fact, they're books I already have. That way I have my hands on it and I can make a January, February, and March pile. Boom, I'm setting myself up for success. Now, that's a monthly basis. What do you want to achieve on a monthly basis? Now, let's look at quarterly. What do I want to accomplish quarterly? Well, I've got some ways. I want to invest in myself. Does that look like me ordering a course from someone in an area that I want to grow, whether that's a mindset, a skill set? Or does that look like on a spiritual level? Do I want to invest in a Bible course? So I want to challenge you guys. Find a way to implement. I know Mira's going to share that breakdown. I'll be more than happy to share mine once I filled in. I have the skeleton of all of it. I haven't filled it all in. I'm going to be really intentional over the next few days about that. But really be intentional because you can have a goal board and you can have a vision board all day long. But if you are not taking those daily accountable actions and you holding yourself accountable, like that's your job first before it's a coach or a leader, you got to hold yourself accountable. And Mira, I'm a really good starter and I'm a bad, like other than my marriage, parenting, and this business, I'm pretty sure I've quit everything I started in life. Okay. Like I have to like force myself to finish some books sometimes. Okay. I'm like a habitual quitter, but I have never, and I was so mind blown, Mira, when we were like, again, we came from two different perspectives, but we're crossing. The goal is to grow. The goal is evolution. The goal is, you know, being better in December 2020 than we are right now. I've never set myself up for success like this going into a year. Have you ever done, I know you have a history of doing this with companies. Have you ever done this in your business or with yourself before?
I haven't, and I'm super excited about it because I feel like it's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, if you just think about it, it's like, you know, we talk about 6 lists, we talk about steps of success, but if we can connect, you guys, if we can connect our monthly steps to success goal or enrollment goals with our 6 list, right? So that's your action, that's your goal, with your annual goal and your annual vision and your long-term. I mean, if all these things are aligned, you guys, you're going to work with so much confidence. And those days that you're tired or grumpy or the baby is sick or you work really late at your real job, whatever.
Distractions, like,
yes, you stay focused because there's a plan. And even I, as this super green red, have not had a plan like this ever before. So I'm super excited.
And for me, being that blue, oh my gosh, when I smell work, I'm like, toodaloo, kangaroo, I'm out of here. Like the only reason I'm at where I'm at is because I'm like 60 or 70% red, but that 20% blue I have, it's like a little bit of good, and then a whole lot of that blue. Like, y'all, I am lazy by nature. Okay. If I could sleep 20 hours a day, play Super Mario World for 3 hours, and then spend an hour with my family, that's like my dream life. Okay. And so for me, I need that accountability. I need that challenge. I need it to be fun. And this allows me to be, I show up with a plan, because if I have to show up, how many of us, we show up and then we try to think and it's just overwhelming and we start scrolling on social media. Now for someone, sorry, I think my internet's going out a little bit. I hope you can still hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. For someone who has a little bit of a tendency to not set myself up for success, not be prepared, fly by the seat of my pants, I'm literally going in, I'm making this fun, I'm making it challenging for myself, and like flossing my teeth, that has nothing to do with my business, but I want to start flossing my teeth and I'm excited about that. And so how can you make this fun where you guys can connect all three? And I hope you see a correlation. I know I'm like super amped up, like, while doing this, but I hope you guys see a correlation that the vision board is 3 to 5 years down the road. I felt like I was from Canada. All these Canadians up around. I love you guys. Oh, Canada. My grandfather's actually born in Quebec. So anyways, moving on. So the vision board is down the road. It's long-term. It's obnoxious dreaming. It's so crazy that your spouse is making fun of you. Like, it's obnoxious. But the goal board could be for 2020. Here are some things with hard work, with grit, with perseverance I'm going to tackle. But then how do I show up every day? And that's that sheet that Mira was saying. And for me, that's that calendar. This is how I'm going to show up and win the day. That way it leads me to win the week, win the month, and win the year. Mira, this has been amazing. Is there anything else that you want to say before we hop off?
I did have one, one little reminder, you guys. You don't just write this down and like put it in a drawer and don't look at it. Look at every single step of what we just said, starting from the daily, the monthly, the annual, to the big vision every single morning. It takes you like 30 seconds, but it's going to reset your brain. Otherwise, it'll slip. That's all.
Absolutely. Put these boards where you can see them, whether it's all one big board, the vision, the goal, or you separate it. And I want to challenge you. If you have not watched the Costa Rica recap, you need to do that, because I had a goal board, but after that second time I watched it, I'm gonna watch it again today for a third time. Whoa, my brain was on fire, and it's almost like it finally clicked. There is a difference between a vision and a goal. So we love you guys so much. We are so excited for 2020. We're rooting for you. We love you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.